gentlemen, brothers, sisters, children of all ages, it is time to start the show. Welcome to our almost nightly, maybe nightly, 3 times a week, multiple times a week, our evening show, Old Humble Guy. This is the Old Humble Happy, the Old Humble Whiskey Happy Hour. It is a periodical which I'm going to start this night. Just going to bars and having conversations, sitting down and bringing up a topic and going, that thing in the news, like the thing we saw in the news just a couple of days ago, where the priest out in Arizona was baptizing people with the wrong spell, and decided that everybody's baptisms in Arizona are invalid. Weird story. We're not going to talk about that story today. So I am the Old Humble Guy. This is the Old Humble Distilling Company's YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys getting in. I will do my level best to entertain you and have a conversation. We will be checking in on chat, engaging with the chat. We'll pop in and talk, but it's a happy hour. Pour yourself a drink. And let's get started. I've got my double oak rye that I am sipping all night. Tonight's topic conversation is, it's not our theories. And this is not a debate. I want to be very clear about that. This is not a debate. I'm not weighing the merit of my bottle's empty. I'm not weighing the merits of whether or not flat earth theories. I'm not weighing the merits of theories. They're not. It's not a debate, a debatable topic. There's no earth. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as earth. I've been curious for several years now. The flat earth nonsense kind of regenerated, surfaced, and started rearing its dumb, ugly head. I was curious. What are the origins of the dumb? What is the origins of this dumb? And I would like to pre-apologize if you believe in flat earth theory, whatever flat eartherism. If you believe in it and you get offended by me saying it's dumb, the theory is dumb, they're wrong, they're not borne out by evidence or fact or reality or anything, I would like to apologize if you're offended about that. I am unfortunately unable, because if you get offended by me saying that the earth is not a thing, then I'm sorry. Well, I mean, that's on you. You're getting offended that you're over believing in a thing that doesn't exist. Sorry, unicorns don't exist. If you get offended about that, you should be all offended about whatever. I really I could not care if subscribe to Flat and also get offended. Here's Bacon. Welcome to the part. I have got my drink. I encourage you to pour your own. So here's the thing is, we've known for centuries, long time, that the Earth is quite round. My audio is R2D2ing on every third word. I don't know what that means. Beeping? Okay, let me plug it into ear sets and see what's going on. Maybe over. Is it beep? That's weird. Oh, you know what's going on? Of all the things that I forgot to do today, this is the plug to my microphone. It wasn't even on. So I'm going to fix that. Then we will be better. Thanks for the heads up, Bacon. I appreciate that. So things that we do know is the distance from Earth that is Saturn. The distance to the moon, the distance to Saturn, the distance to the sun, but we don't know how to consistently set up an audio because
I see it. There it is. We have audio. All right. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let's get into it, shall we? But first, a couple of housekeeping points. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We will have a whiskey giveaway when we hit 550 subs. So subscribe now, as the crawl says below. When we hit 550, we will give away a bottle of whiskey live on the show. We'll do a whole thing with we spin a wheel and get names and all the fun stuff. I do have my 500 subscriber special that was me spending the night in the haunted cemetery. I've got that coming as soon as the weather breaks. We will have that done. We hit 500 subs in unfortunate times. The weather was just nasty. It's been nasty for a while. And tomorrow night, uh, yes, Ting Ting, I hope you want the free whiskey too. We get 500 subs to give away a bottle of whiskey. No problem at all. We hit 600 subs. We're going to have a 600 sub special that will be explosive. And I am looking very much forward to that night. It's going to be awesome. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Tomorrow night we have our Happy Hour 2.0 with me and Lisa, and it is the legendary, much talked about, much anticipated Brussels sprouts episode, where they tried to convince me that Brussels sprouts are not trash. I am an open-minded individual. I am willing to accept the arguments that they present to me. I am going to eat at least 3 dishes of Brussels sprouts, and I'm going to eat at least 3 dishes of Brussels sprouts, and we're going to determine whether or not Brussels sprouts are trash. I am a grown-up. I will eat them. I will eat them with an open mind and an open mouth, and we will see if they're worth a shit. I've had Brussels sprouts 100 different ways, and they're all trash. There's only one way to cook them right, and that's by peeling them off the plate and dumping them in the trash. Whew, anywho, okay, so on to the show, shall we? We've done our housekeeping, we've done all our stuff. I've poured myself a drink. I hope you poured yourself your drink. So let's talk about this flat Earth stuff. Copernicus knew the Earth was round. Galileo knew the Earth was round. Hell, the Greek philosophers knew the Earth was round. They weren't really scientists. Yeah, the Greek scientists, they knew the Earth was round. They did an experiment that any middle schooler can replicate. And it's a solid experiment. You put a pole up on one latitude line. You go north a ways. You put another pole up on another latitude line. You go north a ways. You put another pole up on another latitude line. And at the same point, the same time of day, all 3 poles are going to cast a different shadow because the Earth is round, and this shadow is going to be this long. One shadow is going to be this long. One shadow is going to be this long. One shadow is going to be this long, and that's how they knew. Not only did they know the Earth was round, they knew the size of the roundness. They knew the circumference, the north-south circumference of the globe to a fairly precise degree. They almost nailed it based on that experiment, which is pretty impressive considering the time it took for them to send messages between the one city and the other. You know, they walked it off and did it. It took a tremendous amount of time to pull this off, and they couldn't set up a camera in one city and set up a camera in the other city and see the 2 shadows being cast simultaneously. They couldn't do this. No. Yes. Well, actually, hang on. Time out. Yes, Bacon, there is apparently an argument about whether or not Brussels sprouts are trash. I don't think it's much of a debate, but I'm willing to take a good old college try and say, you know what? I'll eat your garbage food just to prove my point. Unlike Brussels sprouts, there is no debate about the flat Earth. There is no round Earth, or there's no flat Earth. The Earth is round. So here's the thing. I've been wondering, like, where does this nonsense come from? Why are we fly on airplanes from one point to another. We know what the world looks like because we fly airplanes around it. We base our navigation on simple basic assumptions that from point A to point B you have to go around the globe. From point A down below, you have to the wind blows in a certain direction north of the equator and a certain direction south of the equator because the Earth is 2 halves put on top of each other. We know this shit. And we've known this shit for thousands of years, since BC. We've known this since long before uh, uh, computers and internets and satellite models and all the other stuff. We've known this. So why does this dumb, idiotic crap keep popping up? Why do I see people on TikTok debating a flat Earth? Look, the Bible says the firmament's flat. Why do I hear people say, the United Nations uses a map that shows a flat Earth? All maps show a flat Earth. That's what maps are. They're pieces of paper with drawings on them. Why? Why? Where's this crap coming from? Like, somebody didn't just sit down one day and make this up. Turns out somebody did sit down one day and make this up. But before I get to that, I've had to research all this in incognito mode, like some pervert at a library trying to cover his tracks so that the spyware and firmware, or not firmware, the spyware and nannyware can't track what he's searching. Because look, the first time I looked up like information about these particular theories, the flat Earth theories, boy, it absolutely wrecked my YouTube feed. It wrecks your Google searches. It wrecks all kind of stuff, because the almighty algorithm, when you're like, well, what's the story behind this dumb conspiracy? The YouTube algorithm looks at it and goes, oh, so you like conspiracies, do you? Well, let me tell you about aliens. Let me tell you about alternate timelines. Let me tell you about all the gaps in the human evolution. Humans are really 6 million years old and not 2.5 million years old. And the original ones, they were aliens and they died off. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The garbage that I was getting. I literally had to clear my cookies, clear my cache, and reset search history and all that stuff. I had to reset all that stuff just to get that nonsense. I do not need to see videos. I lived through September 11th attacks. I don't need to see videos about how it was faked and how they faked it, and how Sandy Hook was fake, and how what else is there? How the nightclub bombing was. I don't need to see videos about this crap. But if you look up one conspiracy theory, YouTube thinks you're into all the conspiracy theories. So you start getting fed all of the QAnon and cuckoo lunatic, JFK Jr. still alive, JFK Sr.'s still alive, Elvis is still alive, the Easter Bunny is hanging out with Elvis, and oh my God. So I did it so you don't have to. You're welcome. Let's look before I get into the origins of this nonsense. Let's take a quick look at chat, because I'm a good host. We'll fade over there. Nice. So chat say, I need to drop my glasses just a little bit to read. Ting ting. Brussels sprouts. Blender to feed them. Wait, what? Brussels sprouts steamed and thrown through a blender. Huh. No. I don't. God, I hope they don't steam and blend them. That's going to be. Ugh. No. No. No, 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 no. Tuna's in the house. What up, Tuna? Scorched Earth theory, because it killed the dinosaurs. I'm trying to read this. It's way down here. Scorched Earth theory because it killed the dinosaurs 60 million years ago. Scorched Earth theory. Oh yeah, I mean we know. See, that's another thing we know. We know that an asteroid took out the dinosaurs. We know what happened, and we know the geometry of how things happen, and like how the goes all around the world when plumes of smoke and dust pop up And geometry doesn't work if the Earth is a flat disk. But enough of that. Let's go to the Earth is on a plane and surrounded by ice sheets or on the back of a turtle. Where exactly is the Earth located? See, that's another. Okay, we'll get to that in just a second. But the whole original idea of Earth being a flat disk, and I dug around, I found it. It's not actually hard to find. It's on Wikipedia. But the history behind it is a little bit interesting. There's a dude. It dates back to the mid to late 1800s. Samuel Robotham. So Sam Robotham, he does this experiment called the Bedford Level Experiment, based on the theory that if the Earth is actually a globe, then the water level on this globe should be noticeably bent. Each degree of the water is an arc. It's bent. So in theory, if a ship is traveling straight, it will it'll follow the curvature of the water, and it will go down. And as you're watching it, it goes down, 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 down over the horizon and vanishes, which is what ships do. It's what literally everything does. It goes and it falls over the horizon, and it goes down as it travels out, but not really down. It's just following the curvature of the Earth, and it goes down off the edge. We know this. We've seen it. But in his little experiment that he did, called the Bedford Level Experiment, the ships stayed level for much longer than he anticipated them staying level, and he didn't correct for atmospheric refraction. So he took the conclusion that the Earth was flat, and it was a flat disk, and it was surrounded by ice, and et cetera, et cetera. So he bases his pamphlet and he expands that out to an entire book, Earth Not a Globe, proposing the Earth as a flat disk centered on the North Pole and bounded by a wall of ice. Sound familiar? It's the same nonsense that the flat Earth people are talking about today. Flat disk surrounded by ice, guarded by a NASA militia, uh, and oddly enough, it's the only planet that's like that. The Earth, or the Sun and Moon are like 3,000 miles away. The rest of the cosmos is like another 100 miles beyond that. But see, here's the thing. We know that's not true because we've been to the rest of the cosmos. We've been to the Moon. It's not 3,000 miles away. We've been to the Sun. Well, not personally, not like humans. But we sent probes to the Sun. It's definitely more than 3,000 miles away. The Moon, we know the size of the Moon. We can literally use telescopes and look outside. How we can use binoculars and look outside, and we can see that the Moon is curved because the shadow on the surface of the Moon is curved. If it was flat, it would be flat. We know this stuff. It's not a debate. It's not debatable. But this book, this theory, keeps popping up. And it was mostly dismissed after people tried to replicate the experiment and said, oh, well, here's your flaw. But then a flat Earth journal, Earth, a monthly magazine of sense and science, was then published right around the turn of the century, 1901 through 1904. But then it kind of, went away until in 1956 or so, when the International Flat Earth Research Society, as a successor to the Universal Celtic Society, which is what his dumb Flat Earth Society was called. There we go. Where was I talking? Oh, it was reorganized over in Dover, England, in 1969. A Polytechnic of Earth London lecturer, Ellis Hillman, became president of the Flat Earth Society. So these are like educated people, lecturers at universities and researchers and stuff like that. But in the 50s, we knew the Earth was round. We orbited the Earth, for God's sake. So what still never It still just boggles the imagination that this stuff would persist, knowing full well what we know to be true, which is the Earth is very round. It's very round. You can't do the things we've done with the geometry of a planet that is different from what we thought the geometry was. We think the geometry of the Earth is round. We make our plans, our flight plans. We make our flight plans. We make our space plans. We make our math and geometry and all the stuff that's required to go into space, our telemetry designs. We make all that shit assuming that the Earth is round. If it wasn't round, we would have problems. We would have big problems. And it's not a vast conspiracy that the people can keep under wraps. It just doesn't make sense. And as a public service to you, before the end of this program, I will give you tips and techniques on how to debate somebody about this. Because I know all the techniques, trust me. But you got to wait 15 minutes before I tell you any of that. But I'm going to go check chat real quick. Because we're there. It's time to do it. Tuna's here. Cheers, Tuna. Who else we got here? We got Bacon Tuna. I saw Ting Ting earlier. Ting Ting's still there. There is Finputer. What? Oh, yeah. No, I did not throw my computer out the window. I kept my computer. I just had to close like all the windows. And like literally, I have incognito mode right here with my notes because I didn't even want like picking anything up. I'm full tinfoil hatting this right now. Sam, I don't know the Nolan hologram. Good Lord, no. Air squids attack the towers. No. Good Lord. Snipers. The snipers to take into consideration amongst a lot of other features. The curvature of the Earth. Oh, right. I was thinking. I thought you were referring to snipers on the ice wall. 100% correct. When you're shooting anything at a long distance, even radio waves, when you shoot radio waves at a long distance, you take it to affect the curvature of the Earth. You have to, if you don't, then you've messed up your calculations. We know this. We know this to be true. And what's really cool is you can do the experiments yourself to confirm the roundness of the Earth. You can literally look at the moon. You can look at the moon, and from the angle of the shadow of the moon, you can infer the location of the sun. And because of this, you can infer from looking at it without even like doing the math. You can see the angle of the shadow on the moon and infer that the sun is a fuck ton distance away, which I think is a scientific term. I'm fairly certain that is a astronomical term. Fuck ton of miles away from the moon. Because, you know, if like the moon's here and the shadow's here, that means that like the sun has to be way out there, especially if it's dark. The sun has to be way out there because it's on the horizon, and you know that's where the moon is. So you can like triangulate this, literally triangulate this stuff, and infer a whole lot of information because you know that the moon goes in front of the sun and makes an eclipse. All of this stuff can be calculated and confirmed, and it does not take a tremendous amount. You don't have to have a high level of math skills to be able to calculate these distances, these sizes, and all this other stuff, just based on shadows and understanding properties of triangles and things like. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of math skills because you can just using proportions and stuff like that. Anyway, we know all this stuff. But anyway, back to where this dumb movement like resurrected itself from. Um, the modern, so the origins were traced back to the mid um, 1800s, mid to late 1800s. The Flat Earth Society, the most recent incarnation of the Flat Earth Society, uh, the most recent iteration or the most recent model that they give, they're obviously because their math and doesn't work. But the most recent model has North Pole at its center, 155 wall of ice around the edges. All this stuff sounds familiar. All this stuff. Well, hopefully it doesn't. But hopefully you have more sense than I do because you don't pay attention to this. They recruited members by speaking against the U.S. government and all its agencies, particularly NASA. Much of the society's literature is in the early days focused on interpreting the Bible to mean the Earth is flat, although they did try to offer scientific explanations and evidence. So there you go. That's the rundown for the Wikipedia guys. I read it, so you don't have to. Scan over here to astronomical distance away. Yes, astronomical. Shit ton. That is the word. Air submarines flying with their land masses the way they actually are. I know. Yes, humans have actually crossed. We've seen pictures of them from space. We know what they look like. We know where we're at. We've done it. We've seen it. They can't not be where they're at. It's not a vast conspiracy. Hell, we knew where they were at before we went and saw them. We could infer it. We could see it. We could map it. We could travel across it using reckoning and mapping skills, and we could map these things out. The pictures from space just confirmed what we already knew. It's not. None of this is earth-shattering. Astronomical AUs, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like literally none of this is earth-shattering. I mean, we know the sun isn't 3,000 miles away. We know the moon isn't 3,000 miles away. We know that we orbit around. And see, the model of our solar system and Earth Moon system and the cosmos as we know it, though the models of that stuff, they don't change. We refine them, but they haven't changed since Copernicus and Galileo and there's one more dude. Like Copernicus set the orbits, and then there's the next optical, and I can't remember that guy's name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Copernicus, nah, come to me in about 3 hours after we have to show up. Do I know what's beyond the wall? There's no wall. There's no beyond the wall. There's no wall. Do I know what's beyond the wall? Don't be silly. Do I know what's beyond the wall? Pure. Come now. Anyway, so the membership of the group rose to 3,500 people under Charles K. Johnson's leadership after a fire at his house in 1997. Johnson himself, the former, he died in 2001. The relaunch was in 2004. Daniel Shenton, who was not related to Samuel Shenton, resurrected the Flat Earth Society. There's not a reason why it was resurrected in 2004, but eventually led to the official relaunch of the society in a physical sense in October of 2009 with the creation of a new website featuring a public flat earth literature, fiction, mind you. Moreover, the society began accepting new members all over the globe, all around the world, for the first time since 2001, with musician Thomas Dolby becoming the first to join the newly reconvened society. As of July 2017, over 500 people become members of the newly reconstituted society. It's larger now. There's a whole special. There's a special on Netflix called Under the Globe, Under the Glass, or some dumb, stupid special. Basically going to a flat Earth convention. I couldn't watch more than 15 minutes of that nonsense. It's just ridiculous. Again, this isn't a debatable fact. This isn't a debatable point. This isn't like, here are the facts confirming the round globe. No, tell me your facts confirming the flat. There are no facts at Earth. There's no facts to support it. No, because it's not a thing. It doesn't exist. So you can't. No, you can't. Fucking nonsense. What it is. Pure, unadulterated. Not like good nonsense. I mean, I'm not even talking like it's good nonsense. It's not even good nonsense. Like, sure, maybe it started off as a joke. Let's just assume this reconstituted association in Canada and Italy and internet era resurgence. The internet, oh my God, the algorithm has just made it so insane. Beyond the Curve, that was the name of the documentary. It's just, back to chat. I need to take a break from this dumb nonsense. Oh goodness, the Earth is flat. These guys, am I a joke to you? Yes. You can't doubt the squids. They might be weak and delicious. They are delicious, but they're still masters of craftiness and disgusting. I don't think squids are disgusting. I like it. They taste good. Calamari is one of my favorite. One of my favorite appetizer dishes. And I know they didn't fake the images. Well, how do I know they didn't fake the images? Because it would have cost how do I put this plainly? In order to fake the images, you would have had to spend more money on the technology to fake the images and fake the images accurately. Like, for example, the pictures of men on the moon. In order to fake the pictures of the men on the moon, you would have had to build a light that was large enough and luminous enough and far enough away to replicate the angles of light that you were naturally getting from the sun. And the cost of lighting some light would have been greater than actually sending someone to the moon. It's just, to build a light array that big, I'm talking like the size of like a Chrysler building big. Like that big is how big. You can hide that. You can hide this stuff. And that's one of the things, like, I don't believe the nonsense that they're repeating. I think they know it's nonsense. They think they're in on the joke. But in the age of the internet, well, not even the age of the internet, the age of the algorithm, I don't know. I don't know if there's. Well, I do know that there's good, healthy nonsense. There's good heart, good humored, good, healthy nonsense. But when you start down the path of conspiracy theories and counterfactual nonsense, you kind of veer off the path of good, healthy nonsense, and you get into the realm of brain rotting nonsense. This because the algorithm says, "Hey, you're dumb enough to repeat that stupid joke. Maybe you actually believe it. Here's some other dumb nonsense that maybe you'll also believe. And, oh, by the way, here's some more dumb, stupid nonsense that you might actually believe." And then, you get 5 or 6 or 10 or 100 of those, and then, you start to think, maybe one or two of these things might actually be true. And the next thing you know, you have a gun strapped to your back and you're looking for the basement of the pizza place because that's where they harvest the baby brains or whatever shit nonsense they think. In the 90s, conspiracy theories weren't as well. I mean, they were dangerous in the 90s because you had your cuckoo bird militias and all that shit in the 90s, even in the 80s. I mean, the conspiracies we had in the 80s were that they're uh, hiding UFOs in Roswell and Bigfoot, and JFK was assassinated by a conspiracy and not a lone gunman. All kind of, weird conspiracies that weren't connected. But now you start looking at the Mothman stuff, and then Mothman stuff says, "Oh, you like cryptid? Here's more cryptid," and you go from cryptid to lizard people, and lizard people are running our government, and oh my god, and it's like you've quickly slid down into this rabbit hole of cuckoo bird crazy nonsense, which is why I had to clear out my cookie 5 times. Jesus, but why I'm in incognito. Not that these people actually believe this nonsense. I'm not. I think they're. I think they're in on the. They think. I think they think they're in on the joke. And unfortunately, well, I guess we had others in the 80s and 90s. The Rothschild conspiracy that continues to persist. But see, that's the thing. You're like, oh, well, there's a vast international conspiracy to conceal a globe from us. Even though people have been to space and orbited the whole fucking planet, there's this vast international conspiracy by lizard people because they're aliens, and the Rothschilds because they control money, and then it's what other dumb conspiracies do you lump into it? Jesse Ventura was big on the what was it, the conference at the end of World War II that basically set a global standard, which wasn't even like a conspiracy. That was just a thing that happened. A thing that happened that nobody really talked about because it was wonky economics dorkishness. And it's a thing that actually happened. The something conference. Well, now I'm going to have to Google that up and see what the name of that one was. Post World War II conference monetary system. I need to. Hold on one second. I have a power problem here. What's going on? This one? Uh-oh. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. My computer went into power save mode. It shouldn't do that. But I can't do anything about it right now. Come on, computer. Wake up. All right, we may be cutting this short in about 5 minutes. That may be out of power. Oh, we're good. Fixed it. Oh, man. That is never a good feeling when you're doing a show. You're in the middle of a damn stream, and then your computer goes into power save mode. Like, what the hell? You're not supposed to do that, computer. Thanks, Ting Ting. Where are we looking at? Okay. Flying spaghetti monster help people's necks get longer if you're going to noodle appendages over time. Well, yeah, that's exactly what the Flying Spaghetti Monsters do. And that, I think, is, well, I don't know why. The audio was clicking in and out. I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying. Oh, yeah, that's what I was looking for. The Bretton Woods Conference. That's what Jesse Ventura used to always harp and moan and cry about. The Bretton Woods Conference. You see, we had a handful of little conspiracy type of things, but they were all like disconnected, and they weren't like, if you went to look into the Oswald stuff, you didn't have somebody standing at the door of the library saying, "Hey, did you want to see all the other stuff about the Rothschilds controlling the monetary system and the Bretton Woods Conference and the aliens and who built the pyramids and the lizard people who control the universe and blah 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 blah, all the other bullshit?" You didn't have that, and now you literally have that, where you think you're in on the joke, and you're just having a grand old time, and you're laughing, and you think it's cute, you think it's funny, and it kind of is. It's kind of cute, it's kind of funny, it's kind of silly, it's pure nonsense. And then next thing you know, you look around, and you're in a room full of full-on crazy birds. And you're in a room full of crazy birds, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we know the Earth's round. We all know the Earth's round. But did you know that politicians drink adrenochrome from murdered babies?" And you're like, "That's crazy, dude. Like, that's legitimately crazy. Like, that doesn't happen." You're like, "Oh, no, but listen, Chinese billionaires funded this guy to go over to the sex island, and then when the sex island, which actually that may have actually happened, but then at the sex island, they go down to the basement where they have all the babies that get left over from the sex parties, and then they pop open their little baby heads and eat their brains with the adrenochrome in it. But they gotta get them really scared first, because when they get them really scared, that's when the adrenaline really gets pumping." And you're like, that's like bona fide, honest to God, cuckoo bird crazy, dude. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And then the guy next to him goes, "Yeah, that's crazy. But did you know Wayfair was delivering slaves in filing cabinets?" And you're like, "Actually, that sounds a lot more plausible than the whole harvesting baby brains thing. Tell me more about Wayfair." And if you don't think about it at all, it makes sense because, well, I mean, if you don't think about it at all, you're like, "Oh yeah, that's why they put the names with that." Girls go missing, and Jennifer is the name of the filing cabinet. And okay, sure, but then if you think about it even a little bit, and how many times that your mail gets delivered to your neighbor, and how many times like a package gets stolen off the front porch, and that was literally the plot to a TV series called Happy. Uh, it ceases to be like even remotely plausible and kind of even less funny. So anyway, back to chat. We're gonna cut to that one right there. Yeah, there we go. Calamari with spaghetti. Um, the squids suck out the blood of the humans. Suckers. 11,000 Jennifer filing cabinet. It was the Jennifer filing cabinet, not the Steph. What did I say it was? What did I say it was the Jennifer? Or did I say it was the Stephanie? Whatever. Who cares? Anyway, all right. So here's the tips and tactics. I promised you at 11 or 10:45 I would give you tips and tactics on how to debate people about this crap. I don't have a graphic for this because I don't need a graphic for this. I will tell you. I will give you 3 tips and tricks. 3 tips and tactics how to debate a flat earther. The first and third one don't matter. You don't. You tell them to fuck off, and you don't debate them. That's how you debate a flat earther. You do this. You sit down. You're at the table. You sit down. You go to the bar. You get your drink. You're at the bar. You go, "Thank you, bartender. Appreciate it." You tip them your 20% if they're really good. Tip them 30. Don't be an asshole. Now, if you had to ask them like 1,000 times, maybe not. But that's between you and your Lord, not me. Guy comes up, sits next to you, says, "That's a nice whiskey. I think I'll have one too." And you say, "Yeah, you should, because it's Old Humble and it's delicious." And they go, "Okay, Old Humble on the rocks." And they order Old Humble on the rocks. You're drinking Old Humble on the rocks. You clink your glass. You say, "You're a good man. My name's Joe, I'm the old humble guy. He says, hi, my name's Darren. I'm not the old humble guy. And you're like, ah, I look like a decent guy, Darren. And he's like, yeah, but you know the earth's flat, right? And this is what you do. You go, that's how you debate them. You take your drink and you go to another table. That is how you do it. There's no debate. There's no debate to be had. You're not going to talk them out of nonsense. They're not participating in the world of logic. They're not participating in the world of reason. They're not participating, assuming that they actually believe it. If they don't actually believe it, they'll come find it. They go, oh, by the way, I was just joking. Hi, I'm Darren from the bar. Remember me? I'm the guy who said you're flat Earth and you walked away. I was just joking. And you're like, oh, well, good. I thought you might be crazy, and that's why I didn't want to get any on me. Whew. Glad we dodged that bullet, Darren. Would you like another drink? And then you buy him a drink because you were kind of rude. But if he's full of cuckoo bird crazy, he's not going to come back to you. He's going to go find somebody else to tell their cuckoo bird crazy stuff to. And I have a great cuckoo bird crazy story of a guy that I ran into in, I think it was Iowa. Full on cuckoo bird crazy dude. This was 2006. Do I have time to get this story in? Summer of 2017. We're road tripping up to Mount Rushmore. Is it Illinois? No, this had to have been Iowa. I think we were on our way home, actually. We were at a rest stop, really cool rest stop on the banks of the Missouri River. This is the rest stop that has the Native American woman with the blanket out, and it's gorgeous, amazing park. It's a rest stop on the side of the road. Anyway, full on cuckoo bird crazy, dude. I wander off. I'm looking at some whatever roadside like information things. This guy comes up to my wife. She's waiting on her kids to come out of the bathroom or something like that. Comes up to my wife and he says, it's on the Lewis and Clark Expedition Trail as well. And he says something along the lines of, Meriwether Lewis's, or Meriwether Clark. Can't remember which one was Lewis, which one was Clark, which one was Meriwether. We'll go with Meriwether Lewis. Meriwether Lewis's manservant was not, when they weren't in the American territory, when they weren't in the American states, wasn't technically a slave. They didn't have slavery in the Louisiana Purchase. But when they got back to the states, he was the only person in the expedition who didn't get his pension, who didn't get his pay, didn't get his pension because he was technically a slave. And my wife is like, okay, I have to go now. And she calls me over. She says, honey, come talk to him. I'm like, okay. And I come to talk to him, and she says, I need to go now, bye. But he's very, and she goes. So this guy goes on a long street about how this guy didn't get his pension, he didn't get his pay, and it was all Obama's fault. Because he was president for 8 years. He was president for 8 years, and he could have granted his family the pardon, but he was too busy playing golf. That's what he said. He was too busy playing golf, so he couldn't do it. And normally, when I have cuckoo bird crazy people, this is what I do. I take my cup and I go. But unfortunately, we were driving. I didn't have a cup, so I couldn't take my cup and go wander off. I couldn't even come up with a good excuse because, honest to God, I hadn't talked to another human being who I wasn't related to in like 2 days because we'd gone, road tripping and camping and stuff like that. So I was kind of starved for the interaction. So this guy's, trying to educate me about how bad Obama was for Meriwether's, Lewis's manservant, slave. And I'm like, so what about, like, Bush? Was he golfing too much because he didn't do it? And what about Clinton? And what about the other Bush? And what about Reagan? And what about Carter? And what about Ford and Eisenhower and Nixon? And I started, and he's like, well, anyone, but Obama should. I go, okay, fine. So Obama, maybe he should have because it was like time to do it. But where's the current president at? Is he golfing right now? And by the way, day of the week, so chances are the president was also surfing. I put Cuckoo Bird full on. Hi, Tanya. Cheers. Tara. Hi, Tara, rather. We'll get back into chat in just a second. But it's another great way to, like, this was full on, like, Cuckoo Bird conspiracy theorist as well. When I saw him at his car as we were driving off, his car, had all the Cuckoo Bird conspiracy theory bumper stickers on it too. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to interact with him as much as I could have because he was beginning to rot my brain right there at that moment. But that is, I don't remember where I was going with that story. I don't remember where I was going with that story, but I'm sure I had a very valid point. I can't remember. Anyway, last 5 minutes of the show. Let's wrap this up, guys. Don't debate flat Earth with anybody. It was born out of a failed experiment, and every video, if you stumble across these dumb videos, every video is basically replicating the same dumb flawed experiment that happened in the late 1800s and early 1900s. It's just bad science, it's bad logic, it's bad reasoning, and we know the Earth is a globe, so just don't debate shit. Don't even, I mean, if you want to engage, it could be fun. But for God's sakes, make sure that they know it's a joke if you engage, because the next thing you know, you're going to be former Vice President can't golf. He'd catch fire trying to walk this dude with his hairy legs. Mike Pence had hairy legs. I did not know Mike Pence had hairy legs. I have never seen, I cannot confirm or deny because I don't know for sure that I've ever seen Mike Pence's legs. Let's see here. The lockers. Where are the lockers? Okay, I'm scanning up to find out. Bring a bottle of double rye past the. There's no walls, Tuna. Although I can say this, one of the coolest maps that I've ever seen is the maps of what the fish think the world looks like. And that's really cool because, all the water is connected all to the oceans. So like the fish, they don't know what the mountains are, but they know. It was a really cool map. Anyway, there's no wall. Silly goof. Don't shorthand. Get a bottle from Davy Jones' locker. Yeah. Bull Rush here? No, Bull Rush is in here. I'm just mentioning Bull Rush's name. Yeah, Bull Rush, to mention his name again, he has had the pleasure of joining me at the distillery and picking up a bottle from the guy himself. So, if y'all are ever in town, we are open on the weekends. We are having a mini music festival, not this weekend, not next weekend, but March 5th, 3 weekends from now. It is live streamed in our live stream is pinned tomorrow night. We are doing our Brussels sprouts show on the Happy Hour 2.0 with me and Lisa and my lovely wife. Lisa and my lovely wife will be making Brussels sprout dishes for me because I am convinced that Brussels sprouts are trash food. They are convinced that they're not trash foods. They're going to lovingly make dishes in order to convince me that the trash food is not actually trash food. They are wrong, but I am a grown-up. As a grown-up, I am willing to try them and give them the old honest evaluation. I have not predisposed myself to thinking that they're trash. I've had them before, so I know they're trash. But if they can make a dish that's palatable that I can eat, I don't think I'm going to throw it up. See, that's the thing. I don't think I'm going to throw it up. It's going to be okay. At best. Maybe it'll be great. I don't know. Maybe they'll do a bacon wrapped, dipped and fried, something delicious that they can come up with. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. Tomorrow, late morning, sometime tomorrow morning, I can't remember when I scheduled the show. I'm doing my second installment of the quest for 100,000 views. Old Humble is on a quest for 100,000 views. Let me see if I can find there it is. We're on a quest for 100,000 views. Episode number 2 is tomorrow, where I am literally going through, basically doing the same thing that I've done with the Flat Earth app. I watched scores of videos on how to increase views on your channel. I am implementing changes from these videos, advice that I get from coaches, some good advice, some bad advice. Bad advice is advice that you can't implement and doesn't really apply. Good advice is advice that you can implement and adapt and use on your channel. I've already employed a whole lot of stuff on. I need to update that number. It's no longer 40,101. I think it's closer to 40,200 at this point. But I'm implementing the changes, and then we're looking at the beginning of the week. I implement changes, and then like on Thursday or Friday, I look and see what those results are for those implemented changes, and then we turn the wheel and refine it a little bit more and see what happens again. So this is already. We just started these changes at the beginning of this week. Halfway through the month of February, we started the changes. We're already on pace to have the best month in the 24, 25, 26 months that I've been actively operating the channel. So that it's a fun series to do, a learning experience for me. But I think it will be. I think it'll be very informative for people if the stuff that I do works. I mean, they're not 30-minute videos. The first one was about 30 minutes because I had a configuration of wires over here that did not allow me to be plugged into the wall. But plugged into the wall and have a full-on hour show. So I had to cut the first one short a little bit, but I'm going to aspire to a 30-minute episode. It's a live episode, so there's chat. You can chat with me and ask questions. I will answer them as best I can. I'm not an expert at all on how to do this stuff. I am full on learning it, trying to learn it and try to get better at it, and trying to learn and get better at it within the ecosphere of YouTube. I'm not on Reddit. I'm not really promoting these shows much elsewhere. It's mostly on the YouTube, so I'm trying to focus on getting a YouTube audience for my YouTube videos. So that's the thing that we're doing tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night, we've got the Brussels sprouts episode. Do I have the Brussels sprouts episode? And of course, we're doing our whiskey giveaway. We're doing our whiskey giveaway when we hit 500,000 or 500. Holy shit, 500 subscribers. As you see down here below me, 500 subscribers, whiskey giveaway. 550 subscribers. Sorry, 550 subscribers. We do our whiskey giveaway. Guys, that's it. Do not Bacon Blood. She likes to subscriber. Don't forget to subscribe. Vanessa Kitty's in the house. Cheers, Vanessa. But I think we are. That's it. We're done. Be awesome to each other. My drink's empty. Be awesome to each other. Pour one for yourselves, and we will catch up tomorrow. There we go. Be awesome to each other, and as always, love with your whole heart. Talk to you later. Bye. And boop.